CropLife Retail Week, sponsored by Valent. Paul Schrimpf here with Eric Sfiligoj once again. Had some travels earlier this week. I got to go to CropLife America in New Orleans. Sweating, a lot of sweating. I think I sweat through 3 or 4 shirts, trying to walk back and forth from different venues, and enjoying some pretty good dining there, of course. Being New Orleans.
Hope you saw somebody while you were there.
I saw a few people, yeah, in between the meals. I did get a few meetings in, but we seriously talked to a lot of folks. We got to meet up with again with CropLife America. It tends to be executives, and get a sense for what's going on in the marketplace. I felt more optimistic than I did I think going in, just from the standpoint of most folks seem to feel that we've pretty much hit the bottom, and while 17 won't necessarily see a significant improvement, it probably won't get a lot worse, which I think one description of retailers and fertilizer was like chasing a rock downhill to buy fertilizer. Last year, every time you bought, the price would drop a little bit more and put you in a hole. I think there's confidence that the price is normalized, and we'll be better on that front. Crop protection wise, there's a lot of concern about weed resistance, both from the manufacturers and from the retail side. Said it was widespread. I was termed it disastrous, awful. Pretty much, I mean, very few people, very few areas seem to get untouched. One gentleman I talked to surmised that growers felt less compelled that this was a problem to be dealt with for themselves because everybody had it. It was one of those, if everybody has the same problem, then maybe it's not necessarily all my fault. Maybe it's just the way things are right now. It's easier to convince a grower who has 5 fields around him that are clean that they should be taking action on weeds, as opposed to every field seems to have it everywhere you look. So there's there's some interesting perspectives around the show. But again, I think more upbeat than in terms of looking at the future than we had originally thought going in. So.
Well, Paul, I'm curious. I know we've been talking about consolidation a lot in crop protection. Any of that come up while you were there?
It comes up, but you have to keep in mind that there's obviously there's so much legal and so many legal ramifications coming up with the consolidation question that everyone wants to, from the manufacturer standpoint, wants to exude the feeling of status quo. So I got a chance to catch up with Dow and with Bayer folks, some of the retailers, and I think that is the message, is that these things will be well into 2017 and beyond before they really get settled. So this year, on the people side, on the product side, marketing side, a lot of things that you're going to see are going to be status quo, business as usual, and maybe look for some things to begin to start changing by the next season. But we're just there's nothing's really going to happen. And I think from Syngenta is a little bit unique in that that's an acquisition on the Chinachem side. The feeling there seems to be that they are very much business as usual, that they're going to be allowed to operate as they have in the past without any significant changes. So that was a little bit different, but the other two, you're going to see 4 independent companies operating until such time as we get a little farther down the road.
Okay.
One of the big things that we were looking for was better fungicide, soil-borne disease control. Intego Sweet offered excellent control of Pythium, Phytophthora, Fusarium, and Rhizoctonia is the main reason that we went with the product.
The reason we used it was the previous years that we had really good results, so we decided that it got good stand and good emergence, and it ended up with a really good yield. So we decided to put all our acres to Intego Sweet.
Well, welcome back. There's a news flash. Earlier I said Chinachem, and I really meant to say Chem China, and I apologize for that mistake. So it's corrected. So onward with your bit of news and the process safety management, the information that came from our friends at the Ag Retailers Association.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. Yeah, last week on September 23rd, we got word that ARA and TFI, the Fertilizer Institute, had filed a suit against the process safety management requirements that were supposed to be going into place for ag retailers starting here in the fall of 2016. And we found out last week that the D.C. Court of Appeals has upheld the objection the industry had to process safety management being introduced at this time. So what that means, Paul, is OSHA will have to go through a comment period before it actually tries to enact any PSM regulations onto ag retailers. And our friends at the ASMARC Institute told me that they're going to recommend that their clients continue forward with their PSM planning and get everything up to spec, but that at the moment it looks like it'd be several years before we may actually have PSM required for ag retailers. So good news there.
Yeah, it was never the objection of ARA that these never come into play.
Correct.
It was all about the rulemaking process that OSHA failed to follow, and so I'm sure the association will welcome the opportunity to see the rules as they come through, make comments, and be a part of the process as opposed to having the process, so as they say, ram down the collective throats of our industry. So there you have it, another edition of CropLife Retail Week. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.